All right, let's talk about it. Do you ever feel like you're totally falling behind on this whole AI thing? Well, you're definitely not alone. But guess what? That's all about to change. The truth is, most people are still just dipping their toes in the water. By the time we're done here, you're not just going to be caught up, you're going to be way ahead of the curve. So, let's dive right in.
And look, this isn't just some empty claim. It's a promise. Just by watching this, seriously, you're going to know more about AI than 90% of the people out there. And if you stick with me till the end, we're going to get you into the top 1% of actual users. Sound good? Let's get started.
Okay, so first things first, we need to pull back the curtain a little bit and figure out what AI is really doing under the hood. I know, it sounds super complicated, right? But the core idea, it's actually way simpler than you think.
So here it is. At its very core, an AI is just a giant prediction engine. That's it. Think about it like this. It scanned basically all the world's information, the entire internet, every book, every article, and it's chopped all of that up into these tiny little pieces called tokens. A token can be a whole word or even just part of a word. So when you give it a prompt, something like twinkle, twinkle, little, all it's doing is a massive math problem to predict the most logical next token. And in this case, of course, it's star. That's really it. That's the fundamental magic trick.
So what does that mean for us? It means AI isn't thinking, it's not creating anything from thin air. It's just a master pattern recognizer with a really, really fancy suit on. And that's absolutely crucial to understand because it means the quality of what you get out depends entirely on the quality of what you put in. Garbage in, garbage out, right? If you give it a vague, lazy question, you're going to get a vague, lazy answer. But if you give it rich, detailed, juicy context, you're going to get something brilliant back.
And that brings us to maybe the single most important skill you can learn: how to write a good prompt. See, most people treat AI like a glorified Google search. They just type in a few words and hope for the best. But to get those amazing, mind-blowing results, you've got to give it amazing instructions. So let's break down exactly how you do that. All right, this right here, this 4-part framework is your secret weapon for unlocking incredible results. This is the difference between getting some generic, boring blog post and getting a piece of content that actually moves the needle. So part 1, role. You have to tell the AI who to be. Don't just ask a question, tell it you are a world-class marketing strategist. Right away, that narrows its massive brain from all of human knowledge down to one specific expert domain. Part 2, context. This is where you feed it everything. All the background docs, transcripts, data, give it the whole picture. Part 3, command. Be super explicit. Don't hint at what you want. Tell it exactly what you want it to do. And finally, part 4, format. Tell it precisely how you want the output. Give it to me as a bulleted list. Put it in a table. I need a CSV file I can open in Excel. Don't leave it to chance.
Seriously, if you remember nothing else from this section, remember this one thing. This is the golden rule of AI. The quality of your output will never exceed the quality of your input. It just can't. Your results are a mirror, a direct reflection of the clarity and detail you put in at the start. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, great, but which tools should I use? There are so many. And the advice here is actually super simple, but it's really powerful. Go deep before you go wide. Pick one tool and get really, really good at it. Think about it like learning an instrument. If you try to learn a little bit of piano, then a little bit guitar, then a little drums, all at the same time, what happens? You end up not being very good at any of them, right? But if you master the piano, picking up the guitar later is way easier because you already understand music theory, the fundamentals. It's the same thing here. Jumping between different AI tools all the time, it's really just a fancy way to procrastinate. Pick one, master it. So which one should you pick? Let's do a super quick rundown of the big 3. If you're doing a lot of creative work, deep thinking, writing, maybe even coding, Claude is an amazing choice. If you're more focused on research and you need the most up-to-date info, then Gemini is probably your best bet, especially if you're already in the Google ecosystem. And then there's the OG, ChatGPT. It's just a fantastic general-purpose powerhouse with tons of integrations. The point is, just pick the one that feels right for what you do and then commit to mastering it. Okay, quick reality check. If you've absorbed everything we've talked about so far, congratulations. You're already in the top 10% of all AI users out there. I'm not kidding. So now, you ready to go pro? Let's look at a couple of advanced techniques that will take you from that top 10% all the way into the top 1%. This next concept, it's a total game changer. It's the difference between push prompting and pull prompting. See, most people push. They do like 80% of the work, giving the AI these long step-by-step instructions.
It's like calling a friend and having them give you turn-by-turn directions to their house. It works, but it's a lot of effort, right? The pros, on the other hand, they pull. They let the AI do the heavy lifting. They just give it the destination and let the AI figure out the best route. It's the difference between your friend's directions and just plugging the address into a GPS. And how do you do that? Well, this is where something called a master prompt comes in. Think of it like a detailed user manual about you. It's a document you give the AI that has all the perfect personalized context about your job, your goals, your style, everything. And the best part, you can use that pull method to create it. You just tell the AI, hey, I want to create a master prompt about my role as a VP of marketing. Interview me. Ask me every single question you need to know to do my job perfectly. And it will. It'll pull all that crucial info out of you. And trust me, the difference this makes is night and day. Without this deep context, the AI is just a stranger on the street giving you generic advice. But with a master prompt, it goes from being a stranger to being your best friend, your trusted partner who just gets you and gives you perfectly tailored answers every single time. Okay, but what happens when you finally get that perfect output, that amazing result you want to get over and over again? Well, that's where a system prompt comes in. The best way to think about it is like a recipe for a perfect cake. To get a perfect cake, you can't just throw flour, sugar, and eggs in a bowl. The order matters, the measurements matter, the steps matter, right? A system prompt is that perfect, reusable recipe. It's the exact structure and sequence of instructions that guarantees you get a consistent, high-quality result for a specific task every single time. So, let's take a breath. You now know how to use AI better than pretty much anyone out there. But we all know this technology is moving at lightning speed. So that brings us to our final, and honestly, our most important point. How do you future-proof yourself? How do you make sure AI is always your weapon and never your replacement? It really comes down to this one fundamental difference. Machines are absolutely brilliant at optimizing what already exists. They can look at all the data and make things more efficient. But what can't they do? They can't imagine what doesn't exist. They can't dream. They don't have vision. That is where we come in. And there are 3 future-proof human skills that will always keep you ahead. First is taste. This is about developing a deep, intuitive sense of excellence. You do this by immersing yourself in the absolute best work in your field. Second is vision. You have to actually schedule time to just think, to step away, visualize concepts, and imagine what could be. And third, and maybe most importantly, is care. You use all that time AI saves you to double down on what really matters, connecting authentically with your clients, your team, your family. You do these 3 things, and I promise you, AI will become your greatest weapon instead of your replacement. It really is that simple. You will always be in the driver's seat just using this incredible tool to amplify what makes you human. So, let's bring it all home. Remember that feeling at the beginning, that worry about being behind? I hope it's gone, because you're not behind. You're still early. You're way ahead of the curve, actually. Most people haven't even started this journey. You're not just caught up, you're now armed with a seriously powerful new skill set. So what do you do now? Please don't just go watch another 10 hours of tutorials. It's time to take action. Here's your first step. Pick one small daily task that you do every day, just one. And your mission is to have AI do it for you. That's it. Because 10 minutes of actually doing something is worth more than 10 hours of passively watching. And I'll leave you with this one last question to chew on. For pretty much all of modern history, we've been defined by the work we do, our jobs, our tasks. But now that AI can handle more and more of that work, we're faced with a much bigger and way more exciting question. Now that the machine can do the work, what will you create?